verified? Isn't the idea behind verification just to be able to see when somebody's not officially the person they say they are? Nobody's trying to impersonate me. As far as I know, I'm not really that big of a deal. That might be true, but it will give a false sense of authenticity to your channel. So do you want to be verified? Oh no, with every fiber in my being. Notice anything different? Fern got a new pot. It's a little bit bigger because he's been growing. I don't actually need these. They're my wife's. Recently, quite a bit of dust has been kicked up in the air about the little grey check mark you see next to the names of verified channels on YouTube. And depending on who you subscribe to, you might have seen quite a few YouTubers be more than a little upset about this. On that Thursday, the 19th of September, YouTube notified a substantial amount of online content creators that their channels would no longer be verified. And although YouTube has since gone back on this decision, I think it is a great opportunity to discuss a couple of key questions. Namely, what is verification? Why is it so important to everyone? And as a small creator, should you pursue it? Thing number the first, what is verification, is a slightly more complicated matter than one might think. All that this symbol in any of its forms is supposed to mean is that you are who you say you are. Why is this important, I hear you ask? Let us say hypothetically that you see a tweet or something from a public figure or influential member of society. Or better yet, you receive a message or an encouraging comment from said influential figure. Are you able to trust that message, comment, or tweet? I think you should be able to. Let's look at this from the other end. You are looking for some tutorials on photography and somebody suggests to you Peter McKinnon's YouTube channel. When you type in that name, it is good to be immediately reassured that that channel has been verified to belong to him. But that, unfortunately, is not what people associate that symbol with. Be honest with yourself. Which one of these names do you trust more? Without checking their content, which YouTube channel is of a higher quality? You see, although I don't agree with YouTube's market research that verification carries with it the idea of an endorsement from YouTube's end, I do see how people can get that idea. This is often referred to as the Twitter verification problem.
The other piece of it is like the Twitter verification problem. Twitter had this problem where they were verifying people to confirm that they were the person they said they were, but it also came along with a feeling of legitimacy and validation. And then when I have a blue check mark, it's almost perceived as like an endorsement by Twitter. And that was a problem for them because they were confirming that white supremacists were who they say they were, but people were seeing that as like, why are you giving legitimacy to this white supremacist?
And unfortunately, creators making a big deal out of this proves that they see this as more than just an ID. A major problem is, as far as I can tell, all you needed to do to be verified is reach 100,000 subscribers. Which would be fine, that's a good benchmark to reach if it was an identifier. Hank Green also pointed this out in his very passionate video on the subject.
How do you get a verified checkmark? As far as I can tell, you have to have more than 100,000 subscribers and that's it. Does that sound to you like not the technical definition of what you think when you hear the word verified?
Music channels and the personal YouTube channels of people like Hank Green are the kinds of channels for which it makes sense to have a mark of verification. The same is true for stand-up comedians and YouTubers who make skit comedy. People have fan accounts for these musicians and other creators, and I think it's important that you know that you're supporting the person you think you're supporting. Another important feature of verification is that if you run a YouTube channel and your channel receives a comment from a verified account, it notifies you. That way you are put in touch with another creator, potentially making it possible for a collaboration to happen in the future, thus creating a greater sense of community on the platform. And perhaps most importantly, making it possible for one creator to address another directly. Hank points out that YouTube might have been concerned that it was technically possible to create an account in someone else's name, get it to 100,000 subscribers, and boom, you're verified as someone you're not, and now can go and say awful things. But you see, firstly, it's not that easy to get a YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers. Trust me. But as Austin McConnell pointed out in his video on this subject, if you just remove it outright, there's no way to know certain channels apart.
This is one of the reasons why this is going to cause like a big problem for a lot of people on the platform. I use my name. I don't have like a brand company name that I use. I just use Austin McConnell. There are 19 other Austin McConnells that I was able to find in like just one quick search. There are 19 other channels with my name. So YouTube says there's a problem with impersonating other people on the platform, and they don't want users to get confused about who's who. So in order to combat that, they're going to take away my verification badge. How does that make it easier for them to differentiate between me and the other 19 Austin McConnells? It's counterproductive. It's the opposite of what you say this is going to do. It doesn't make any sense, right?
I do think that impersonation on the internet is a legitimate concern that YouTube could have, and that verification should be taken seriously. But YouTube probably handled this the wrong way. People pointed out that if verification wasn't the thing to begin with, nobody would complain about it not being here. But taking verification away from a creator who worked hard for it and then using language like appeal makes it feel like the platform is saying to a creator, we no longer believe that you, the person who's been making regular content on this platform for years, are who you say you are. The problem wasn't verification, it was blindly just verifying any account with over 100,000 subscribers. I don't think this was an anti-creator move. YouTube doesn't just care about the traditional media folks like late night shows and stuff. Although YouTube clearly wants the platform to be perceived as advertiser friendly, that's where the money comes from. Smaller digital native creators like myself are important to the platform, and they know that. YouTube, as far as myself and many other creators can tell, is trying to avoid fraud on their platform and needed to up the criteria for verification. But what was the new criteria, you might ask? Just stupid vague. The first makes complete sense to me. Does this channel belong to the real creator, artist, public figure, or company that it claims to represent? The second is why people got upset. Prominence. Does this channel represent a highly searched creator, artist, public figure, or company? Is this channel widely recognized outside of YouTube and have a strong presence online? And is this a popular channel that has a similar name to other channels? So firstly, many of those things don't seem overly connected, but let's break this down. Does this mean that even if a creator has been making content for this platform for years, if they haven't created a platform outside of YouTube, they are not worthy of the mark of verification? That's how it sounded for a lot of YouTubers. A day later, good job YouTube, not enough people are pointing this out, they listened, and they listened quick. They released a new news statement. The new news statement is that anyone who is currently verified will remain that way, and anyone who reaches the 100,000 subscriber mark is still eligible to apply for verification. And if YouTube then determines that they are frauding up a storm, they do not receive that verification mark. Everyone wins. This will include looking into the completeness of a channel. The channel must be public, have a description, a channel icon, and content, and be active on the platform. Which, if you as a creator are in a place where you want verification, that will be the case. In my opinion, this will ensure that the channel's authenticity will speak for itself. A thing that bothered many creators is that it didn't feel like this was discussed with anyone. They say they discussed it with creators, but nobody seems to think they did. Why change something this important to people without more of a discussion? They probably didn't think it was such a big deal. YouTube was probably like, we have a feature that in the public eye means something different than we are providing. Oh gosh, that seems like we are opening ourselves up to some big trouble. We should probably change that. And most of the creator base was like, I do personally think that the verification criteria as it stands now is better than it used to be. I don't particularly like that they're replacing the checkmark with like a gray swipe highlight thingy. That thing doesn't say to me that this channel has been checked and verified. On the internet, a checkmark means verification. This to me seems almost more endorse-ish, which is counterproductive, so they might change that too. But I do think the current system will be way better long term. The last question I asked in the beginning of the video was, is verification important to smaller creators? In my research, I found countless videos selling verification flavored snake oil, trying not to educate, but to get people to watch their videos so they too will know the secret of verification. Because the gray checkmark next to your name will finally give legitimacy and validation to your channel. These are sarcastic thoughts. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, let it be that the mark of verification is not a mark of authenticity. I don't think verification should be important to a creator's ego. That's not to say that the motivation that comes from it doesn't exist. It's really useful to be able to see when a bigger creator comments on your videos. A few months ago, I made a video referencing some of my favorite guitarists, my role models. And on that video, my channel received a comment from both Rob Chapman and Samurai Guitarist. And being notified and reassured that that is not just some schmo, but the person I respect, that felt great and genuinely really motivated me to keep creating. I genuinely hope that this victory for creators being able to keep their verification doesn't obscure the content they're making. The checkmark isn't what makes me respect other creators. It shouldn't be the thing that makes me feel worthy of respect. Thank you so much for watching. This really made me think about the things we take for granted on the platform. Years ago, everything had a 5-star rating system, and now we have likes and dislikes and subscribers and stuff. Just thank you for being part of this journey with me. Feel free to go check out another video if you want. What are your thoughts on this subject? Just write something. Comments. Goodbye. Does this really count as music-related content? If at all, only tangentially. I do think this subject influences musician as well. There is the musician version of the verification mark. I think just in case somebody notices, let's draw attention to it near the end.